Hey guys, welcome into this video. My name's Benley, and today I've got for you my ice DPS / control leveling build. Now this is a build I'm very interested in seeing and playing. It's one that's going to give you loads of slows and control for like some good CC, as well as being reasonably tanky, and it's going to be really good for both solo and group play. So you're going to be able to help out your team a lot with this build. I feel like ice, especially on like hardcore, is going to be very good for helping out your team, just because the innate like CC and stuff it has. So we've been doing loads of theory crafting on my stream at twitch.tv/Benley_TV. So if you fancy checking out any of this stuff there, then come give me a follow there. I also want to say that all of my links will be down below, and all of my builds going forward from now on are also going to be on Mobalytics, a fantastic website that has loads of builds and guides for loads of games. The Diablo one is actually going live today, so the day after I'm recording this. So you'll be able to see Diablo 4 builds. There's going to be loads of builds, as well as like tier lists and things. Absolutely great website here. So catch all of my builds and stuff going forward, as well as a bunch of others on Mobalytics. But yeah, let's just get straight into this, shall we? So the whole point of this is we're going ice. So we're going to start off with Frostbolt, and we're going to come down to enhanced Frostbolt straight away. Then with this, we're going to be rushing straight down to ice shards, coming down to enhanced ice shards. And the whole thing with this is we're going to go destructive ice shards so that we can get that vulnerability for 2 seconds. This is going to be a 20% damage boost for yourself, but also just like perma vulnerability pretty much on like bosses for you and your team. And I really feel that like ice shards is going to be way smoother for you and for your leveling, especially if you're solo, than for example Frozen Orb. So it's a bit of a no-brainer for me, and the destructive one is definitely something we want to rush straight away and come down from there. From here, we are going to then take Glinting Frostbolt. So we're going to come up here so that our Frostbolts then generate mana when we're hitting chilled and frozen enemies. So that's just going to be really good for just getting back a bit of mana, keeping us going. Then we're going to come down, and honestly here I've got Teleport, Frost Nova, and Ice Armor as my next three. I think I'll probably end up taking Teleport straight away, but you could technically take these in any order. I think what I'm going to end up doing is going Teleport into Ice Armor, because, you know, at level kind of like 9, Frost Nova's not really going to be doing much for you anyway. So we're going to take Frost Nova then next, and then we're going to come down and we're going to grab enhanced armor. So this is going to give us a bit of extra mana regeneration, and while it's not tons and tons over the course of an entire leveling playthrough, this is actually going to equate to a lot more ice shards and things going from there. So from there, we're going to take enhanced Frost Nova. This is going to allow us to bring the cooldown down a bit more, because obviously Frost Nova's cooldown got nerfed, and 24 seconds is, I think, a bit brutal, but I feel like this skill is really strong, and it's going to be very core to us anyway. From here, funnily enough, we're then going to go into Hydra, and then straight away take Enhanced Hydra, so we get an extra head, and then Summoned Hydra. This is going to give us a bit of extra burn damage. Now, I know that Hydra got nerfed, but it's still absolute insane value for damage per mana cost, because it only costs 20 mana. And I was thinking a lot about taking, for example, Ice Blades. I was really like, should we take that, and should we get like more vulnerability uptime? But honestly, Hydra is just going to do a lot more damage for you going through the game. So I really feel that this is going to be much better for taking out bosses and even like world bosses and things. And then, yeah, so I definitely feel like it's better than like Ice Blades, and we're not even going to take Lightning Spear. There's no way we would take that. So from here then, we're now level 15. So here, you now have a choice. So over here, we are going to have either Fireball or Ice Shards. So Ice Shards is going to be great for when you've got your Frost Nova up. You'll be able to pop Frost Nova, it freezes everything, and then it's going to shoot out Ice Shards, and it's going to be fantastic AoE clear. But, and it's a big but, there is a really good advantage to using Fireball. Fireball obviously kills enemies. When you kill enemies, it does like popcorn explosions, right? You get like a chain reaction going off, enemies die, and it just clears loads of stuff. It's absolutely fantastic. We can't doubt that, especially for early game. However, when you're leveling with a group, you don't have to get the kill for this to actually trigger. So if you're like running with like a barbarian, you don't do any damage, the barbarian goes up and kills some things, it's actually going to trigger this enchantment. So it's a really good option for you, for your team. It's just whether or not you want to take it. Maybe put it on, have a little play with it, and then go back to like Ice Shards, have a play and see what you like for you and your squad. Or even if you're solo, you might at this point then have to put a point into Fireball if you're going to check it out. You could, for example, take off the Summon Hydra, whack it on, and then get Summon Hydra afterwards. But feel free to have a play with that. I know that having Ice Shards was really good for me when I was solo, leveling with a nice build. So I'm going to stick with this one here. From here, we're actually going to come down and we're going to start picking up some more of the passives here. So we're going to take Shimmering Frost Nova. This is going to grant us extra mana when we hit with Frost Nova. And then we're going to come up for Shimmering Ice Armor. This one's going to be fantastic for when we're using the Ice Shards enchantment, because things that hit you have a chance to become frozen, and then Ice Shards will just shoot out. This here is one of the main reasons why I've chosen Ice Armor over going Flame Shield. Now, if you're on hardcore, you might want to consider using Flame Shield for that CC immunity and just like all immunity, so you can get away, or if the Butcher grabs you, you can kind of get away a little bit, something like that, so you don't die. But for softcore, I feel like this is going to be better, especially with this chance for frozen. From here then, I'm going to put a point into Align the Elements, an absolutely amazing passive that I really think you should, at least in every Sorc build, at least put 1 point in. And then we're going to go Protection, so that when we do use our cooldowns, we gain a bit of a barrier. From here, we're going to start pumping up our damage into Ice Shards. So we're going to spam all of our points here into Ice Shards to max that one out. And then we're going to be at like level 23. So going from here, we're then going to go Enhanced Teleport, and we're going to take Shimmering Teleport for extra cooldown reduction if we're going into enemies, which is generally how I kind of play these kind of builds, is I teleport into a group of enemies, hit Frost Nova, let the enchantment do all the work, and then we're going to get in damage reduction for 5 seconds, which is just fantastic. So we've got a bit more defense from these ones picking up here. Now, I'm going to put a point into Frost Nova to start lowering that big cooldown, but there's a reason why I'm not continuing it on, and I'm actually going to start putting points into Frostbolt. So here, we're going to take points into Frostbolt, leading us up to level 30. And the reason why I've done that is because at level 30, we're going to equip in the Frostbolt passive. So this one here, it says like direct damage from skills, apply up to 15% chill. When you actually put points in here, if I take some off, you'll see the enchantment section there goes up. So you will be doing more chill by having this. Plus, it's going to give you extra damage on your basic attacks, which is going to be very good for scaling all your base coefficiencies for all of your items. I have like plus damage to this and damage when healthy and all that jazz. So that's a good reason to put all our stuff in there. And then after we've done that, we're going to come down and we're going to pick up here. So we've actually got 3 skills now maxed out. Frost Nova, we really want that cooldown down because it's way too high. I really feel that they should bring this down a little bit. They did, I think, like they overcorrected with Frost Nova. But anyway, from here, now we're coming down and we're going to pick up a point in Permafrost. So that's down here. We're going to put 1 point in this for now, because that's then unlocked our key passives. And then from there, it's like, do you want to have a lucky hit chance, which might be reasonably low, but will still proc? Or do you want Shatter? So after freeze expires, enemies explode for 25% of the damage you dealt to them while they were frozen. I feel like for me, I really want to take Avalanche. So that's what I've included here. But if you wanted to go the Shatter route, you could, or you could at least try it. So then we're going to come back to Permafrost, and we're going to take the extra damage versus elites, and bosses counts as elite. So this is just fantastic, absolutely fantastic passive. Actually, all of these passives here are really good. So then we're going to pick up these here. We're going to go 3 points into Icy Touch, and we have like vulnerable uptime all the time pretty much. So that's just another 12% damage increase there. And then we're going to come over to the other side and pick up Hoarfrost. So here we've got an extra 9% increased damage to chilled enemies and 18% to frozen. So really good for bursting and like bursting elites. These are absolutely fantastic passives. I just can't not take them. And then from here, we're going to come back up here and we're going to put a bunch of points into Hydra. This is going to take us up to now, we're like level 47. We've got a lot of defense, some good control. We're chilling all the time with everything. We've got Hydra doing extra damage, a load of buffs and things here. So I feel like this is going quite well so far. Then we're going to come for precision magic. This is going to boost our lucky hit chance. I feel like with the fact we've taken avalanche and getting later into the game, we're going to be getting items that boost our lucky hit chance a bit more. So maybe if you get lucky, I know with leveling, you're going to be swapping gear all the time. But if you do find something that has extra like lucky hit chance, then this is where it's going to give you more. So these lucky hits are going to proc more. So that's why I've waited until later on in the leveling process to be able to give us this extra lucky hit chance. And then we're going to take our frigid breeze. Now that we've upped our lucky hit chance, cold damage against vulnerable enemies has a 20% chance to generate mana. So this will allow us to just spam more skills. And then we're going to put 1 point into Icy Veil, increasing the duration of barriers. It's only 5%, even at 15%. I feel like this isn't amazing. So we're going to leave that at 5%. And then we're going to come down to this snap freeze. So because we've got lucky hit, we're now working here, and it's going to give us a 9% chance to instantly freeze. And again, instantly freezing is going to proc ice shards and allow us to kill things faster. So that's absolutely fantastic. And then we've got 2 points left. And here I've decided to put it into mana shield. Now, the thing with this build is there is a lot of options that you could do. You could, if you don't want the extra damage reduction, you could put things into like teleport to lower the cooldown there if you want a bit more mobility. You could also come over to here with the lucky hit chance. It's critical strikes, which our chance for crits will be quite low, but our lucky hit chance will be increased obviously because like precision magic. This gives you a chance to instantly reset the cooldowns of these. And if you manage to hit Frost Nova, then that would be absolutely amazing. So there is an option for this if you kind of want to like gamble with the lucky hits. This is just going to be great for bosses. Go up to a boss, spam your skills, fire off a load of mana, and then you're going to get that extra damage reduction. So it's going to be great for survivability. I just wanted to add in here as well, the reason we're not taking glass cannon, because this could be absolutely amazing for damage. And if you're feeling very confident and stuff, then you could take this. 18% extra damage is no joke once you've maxed it out. But the reason I haven't put it in is because this is a DPS / control build. So this is more for being like a bit more tanky, taking control of the battlefield, doing more CC and like a bit of maybe like team support. If you feel like you want to take some points out and put them into glass cannon to be able to boost your damage up huge, then you could do that. You could take points out of like Frost Nova, for example, and whack in there. So you've got more cooldown there, but you're dealing 18% increased damage. So feel free to do that, guys. It's not going to stop you. It is absolutely amazing. But as I say, the point of this build was to be a bit more kind of controlling and like helping your team a bit more with like CC and stuff, rather than just like pure focus DPS. And there's also like a fair argument for using something like Deep Freeze. So Deep Freeze could be really, really nice, especially this at the bottom here. When Deep Freeze ends, your non-ultimate cooldowns are reduced by 50%. That goes really nice with the Prodigy's aspect to be able to keep lots of mana up. But again, like the issue I have with this is I really don't want to take away any of these skills. Definitely not Frost Nova. Ice Armor is very, very nice for your defense, although the ultimate is great. The problem I have is I would probably feel like I would save it all the time. I would be like a bit hoarder mentality, maybe like, oh, do I need to use it now? No, I probably don't need to use it right now. Won't use the ultimate, because it's a bit of like a panic button, right? You're like, oh, I'm about to die, and you can hit it. So yes, like I get a clear advantage, and I get like a clear reason why rather you would use something like Deep Freeze, and I'm not going to stop you if that's something you want to do. If you want to be a bit more supporty and a bit less damage, you could, for example, take out Hydra and you could put that in there. But for leveling, especially when solo, I highly recommend keeping Hydra in. You'll notice a big difference in your clear speed with this. So yeah, that's the reason there. But the play here really is to hit vulnerable on as many targets as you can, elite targets. We're going to be hitting up our barriers for defense and mana regen. We're going to be running around just placing like a single Hydra down to be able to do a bit of extra damage there. Now, in the legendary aspects, you can actually get 2 Hydra heads. So that would be absolutely fantastic to be able to add on for this. So you can fire off 2 Hydras. but you'd have to be lucky enough to get that to drop. So I'm not kind of counting on that happening. But overall, you've got some really nice offense with this. You've got some strong defense with both Ice Armor and Frost Nova. You can run around, let your Hydras do a bit of the work. These are now more of like a supporty skill rather than like I'm going a Hydra build and it's going to be all my damage, since the nerf was so harsh with it. But it's still absolutely fantastic damage for the mana cost. So I feel like having it in the build is still going to be really strong. And yeah, this is what I think is going to be an absolutely amazing setup here. But let's go over to the gear. At first, at the top here, I've put in Aspect of Might. And one thing I just want to say is every single one of these legendaries are ones that we know you can get from doing a dungeon. So 100% chance you can get all of these. And with my last build, my Lightning Sork build, which I think will be faster if you wanted a faster build for leveling, then when it comes to your weapons, you're not really going to have this in. It's a bit unrealistic to expect and to have full legendaries as you're leveling. What I've done is I've put this in here as more of a perfect scenario, or if you're trying to farm up with this build to be able to go and do something like your capstone dungeon. More realistic, you're not going to have anything on your weapons. You're probably going to have like the 2 on the rings and like on your amulet, maybe 1 or something on your armor, but you're going to be swapping this a lot. So just bear that in mind. But you know, you can probably use a ring for like 10, 15, 20 plus levels. If you get it like kind of early, say you get a legendary ring drop at like level 20, you could probably still use that ring at like level 40 plus, just because it will have a nice legendary aspect. So let's go through these. Basic skills grant 20% damage reduction. Fantastic. Casting Ice Armor makes you unstoppable. This makes Ice Armor a CC break. So if you get CC'd, then you can press it and you can carry on. You do already have that from Teleport. So then that's amazing. You've got 2 here that will give you CC breaks. From this, you've got Aspect of Piercing Cold. I feel like this is one that you should try and keep with for as long as you can going through the game. Ice Shards pierces 3 to 4 times, dealing less damage, but you can get this super early. So piercing is going to be absolutely fantastic, especially if you're solo. You'll notice that you can just like shoot in the line up enemies, shoot in the line and just destroy them. So I highly recommend having this, getting it early and just like smashing the leveling process with this. Then we got Aspect as a Protector. Hitting an elite gives you a barrier. Can't go wrong with that. Ghost Walker, after you do something that makes you unstoppable, and for 4 seconds after you gain movement speed. This scales with this one here, or synergizes rather, so it allows you to actually proc this, and also Teleport makes you unstoppable anyway. So this is going to be really good for that. On the first weapon, we've got basic skills, give you attack speed. That's going to allow you to get extra chill, extra fast, and plus just more damage, right? On the amulet, you deal 30 to 40% more damage to immobilized, stunned, or frozen enemies. So this is Aspect of Control. This, from everyone's testing, and loads of people talking to me and stuff as well that have been testing this and on stream and things, they have been telling me that this scales crazy. It's like a 4x multiplier when you stagger a boss. And with all of our CC and having Frostbolt enchantment here and pumping our points into it, we're going to be doing insane stagger to bosses. As well as obviously like all that vulnerable. When they get staggered, they get counted as immobilized, stunned, frozen, like everything, like all forms of CC. The bosses count that when they're staggered. You're going to be doing like 4x damage, maybe even 6x damage or so while you're using this. So I highly recommend putting this on your amulet to really be able to burst down bosses once you stagger them. Then we've got Prodigy's Aspect. Using a cooldown restores 15 to 25 mana. This is one of the reasons why initially I was kind of thinking that we would want to have like Ice Blaze instead of Hydra, but Hydra's just going to be way smoother for you in your whole leveling process. So using a cooldown restores mana is absolutely amazing. And then we have Aspect of the Umbral. So this restores mana when you CC. Apparently it only happens the first time you CC an enemy, but especially like teleporting in, it's going to proc Frostbolt, which is chill, which is a form of CC because it's a slow. Now, I haven't tested to see if that proc will give you the mana back, but if not, you're going to be using Frost Nova, you're going to get some mana back. This might need a little bit of testing, but I feel like it's still going to give you mana back. I mean, even if it's just Frostbolt, the first time you hit everything, every enemy you hit is just going to give you 1 mana. So if you manage to find one of these that has like 4 mana, you're going to be loving life. But if it just gives you 1 throughout an entire leveling process, that is a lot of monsters and a lot of extra mana. So I still feel like it's going to be pretty decent. It's just going to be a bit meh for bosses. But give it a try and see how it goes. And then the last one here, I've got when you freeze an enemy, there is a 25 to 35% chance they become vulnerable for 3 seconds. So this is just extra uptime on vulnerable. So we have it from our ice shards, but it's only 2 seconds. If the ice shards goes down, you run out of mana. This is a chance to be able to get some extra vulnerability there. And then we've got weapon, basic skill damage. You're going to do a lot of auto attacks over the course of a leveling experience. 20% extra damage. It probably won't be that high. You're not going to have a max one, but extra damage with basic skills. Then on armor, we've got extra life, and on the skull, we've got extra armor. So that's the build, guys. I really feel like it's going to be super nice and super smooth for a lot of you guys leveling out there that really want to go down the ice route. And if you're playing in a group, people are going to love you with this. So it's a build that's both good for soloing and for grouping. It's not a pure support build, because if it was pure support, I'd be tempted to take things like Blizzard, and also taking things like the Blizzard enchantment here, and just kind of jumping in and getting things like loads of blizzards around and just like slowing everything while everyone else does the work. But I feel like this is going to be a very good mix for you to be able to do a lot for you and for your group. So hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like and sub for more Diablo 4 content, and until the next one, guys, I'll see you very soon. Right, launch in a few days. Peace out.